We had a Donnybrook about Dillon Gabriel yesterday, and it's been interesting to watch the narrative outside the show, because there's what you and I think of Dillon, which if we just think about what his long-term ceiling is, we're in lockstep. It is where, how much can we grade him? What can you grade him on? That's where the discourse was yesterday. But it's been really interesting to kind of hear all the other sound on Dillon, from the Browns are pleased with Dillon, which is one report that is out there, to, well, haven't we kind of seen the whole Dillon experience, which is, if I'm being fair to Josina Anderson, who was on with the Morning Boys today, that's essentially what her point was.
Yeah.
And there's a couple different other shades to this, but it's really weird that Dillon Gabriel's become this Rorschach test for people where you can just kind of see what you want or see what you feel in your soul.
Well, no, I think what's interesting about it, and because I did do a lot of thinking about why in this instance did I have a desire to talk about his game, and I do think objectively Game 3, there's a lot of stats I can bring up that'll just bore people. 11th in EPA for quarterbacks this week, all these other things. Doesn't matter. The point is I think it's how you think of Dillon Gabriel versus the expectation and the output of Dillon Gabriel. And so I think for myself, for somebody that has been clamoring and has been talking about Shedeur nonstop for 6 months and have basically looked at Dillon Gabriel as an afterthought the entire stretch of the way, then I looked at him and I saw him in with my own two eyes in training camp, and I thought he looked awful there. And I'm like, all right, not as bad as I thought. And so, like, in my head, I think I give him a little bit more kudos because I looked at him so far down here that even just being able to have completion percentage of a 73% in a game is not something I thought was possible. So I feel like in that instance, there's people like myself that are like, okay, it looks better than I thought. Whereas I feel like the other side of that is the people that, and maybe this is closer to where we are, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, the people that are trying to grade him off whether or not he can be a starter in the NFL, which is not really where I've ever been with Dillon Gabriel. Because I thought we were all playing under the assumption that I've never once thought he was a starter, and it would take a lot for him to show me that I'll actually believe that he is a starter.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bar for me is, can you be a starter, or can you even be like a transitional starter? Meaning, like, okay, maybe you don't even start for a couple years. Maybe you just start for a year and a half. You like stabilize the situation because that's how bad it's gotten. Mm-hmm. And I do think that's where we should be at. Okay, because and a lot of that is, if he's not a starter, he's got to play his way into me thinking he's a starter. And that's not just me. I think that's a fair amount of people. And I think the more information you get, if the box is still checked no, then that's your answer. Yeah, and I think there are people who don't want to acknowledge that. You're not one of them, by the way.
The box is still checked no for me as well, and that never lost the point of what we were discussing in any stretch of yesterday. I think when you look at it through how I view Dillon, where I think of him as this backup quarterback that really I'm surprised he's even able to look proficient in any sort of these games. When he puts out a game where he's only asked to throw the ball 18 times, has 5 incompletions, again, 11th best EPA for the week with quarterbacks, like, you get that production out of your backup quarterback, you're pretty satisfied, all things considered.
So this is maybe the other way to look at this, because you and I just couldn't see eye to eye on how to define Dillon's performance. He threw the ball 18 times yesterday, and not all 18 attempts are the same, right? And what maybe a Cam Ward can do with 18 attempts, bad or good, or let's go to a better quarterback, Patrick Mahomes can do with 18 attempts, is not the same thing as what Dillon can do. So I counted 5 and stopped counting. 5 plays that I thought he missed the entire point of the play. It was the obvious interception through the hands of the Miami defensive back. It was missing Ford in the end zone.
A couple more yesterday as
well.
It
was missing Ford in the end zone. The missing Jerry Jeudy on the sideline. He missed Quinshawn wide open in the flat to scramble for a few yards, and then the Bond play.
Which, again, these type of plays will happen when you're dealing with somebody that you think is a backup quarterback.
Well, they will happen with starting quarterbacks. I can forgive them if I think you're a starting quarterback. But 5 out of 18 plays, when the whole point of you as a quarterback is efficiency and making the right decision, 5 out of 18 is an alarming amount of misses on only 18 passes. And I think that's to where I get to where it's like, if you're only going to throw 18 passes in a game, You need to be flawless. If you're Dillon Gabriel, because if you're Mahomes, you can make up for every miss with a big play you create. If you're Dillon, you can't.
It was a rainstorm, and the weather was a factor and everything like this too. Like he's not going to
wide open.
He's not going to. But he's not going to
yards in the flat.
My point is, I don't think he's going to throw 18 attempts per game moving forward. I think it'll probably be closer to about 25 attempts.
I think about 25 attempts. Then we're going to be talking about 8 or 9 misses, and
especially against New England. By the way, are you guys ready for this? I mean, New England's run defense is the second best in the NFL, and the pass defense stinks. Like the game plan sets up.
Get ready for 5 carries for Quinshon Judkins on Sunday.
The game plan sets up for Stefanski to throw the ball with Dillon Gabriel.
Got to get that game script.
You guys are going to get mad at it, but like if Stefanski read the game script last week and thought that one read towards running the ball with Quinshon a lot, when you face the second best run defense in the NFL, it probably means you're going to have a lot of Dillon Gabriel passing.
216-474-0092. For Dillon specifically, if he's going to have 18 plays where he drops back, he doesn't have a margin for error to let up 2 touchdowns, an obvious first down, and a couple and an obvious interception if Miami just wasn't completely destitute of hope, will, and anything else that looks like real football. He can't have those. Shedeur can. Shedeur has the talent to make up for those plays. Going to the big plays like the Allens and the Mahomes. Those guys can mess up as many opportunities because with one flick of the wrist, they can change the game. Mm-hmm. Dillon can't. And we talk about, I know so much of his ability to stay in the game as the starter is going to be about him getting wins. I don't think with Dillon, that's the only way to measure his success. He has to be flawless in his operation because that's how small the margins are. You cannot take 2 touchdowns off the board if you were Dillon Gabriel ever again. Otherwise, you're not just a backup, you're a medium-ass backup.
I mean,
I felt good. I felt really good. I felt like
glad
I got
it felt
out.
good, but like we have measurements to do all this. Like 11th in EPA for the week. EPA adjusts for all of that. They account. What
about a 47.6 grade against Miami for PFF?
No, PFF didn't love him. No, PFF didn't love him.
36 quarterback. No, 26 out of 36.
PFF didn't love him. PFF graded, and hold on. I thought we were the show that. Can we use PFF? Can we not use PFF?
We can. Yeah.
Okay, because I like PFF. Okay.
I don't think it's the end all be all, but I think if the tape backs up what the PFF grade is, if the nerds and the film rats are in agreement.
Here's where the nerds aren't in agreement. That's the problem, is that the nerds are telling you with EPA that he didn't have a bad week in any sort of measurement.
Wait, are PFF no longer the nerds?
EPA is, I think, the higher up of the nerds. If we're doing like football nerd rankings, I think the EPA per play people are the nerd hierarchy. That's like the Sumer Sports guys. Those are the higher nerds, whereas the PFF guys are like a step below them. PFF guys, I like PFF more than I like EPA, by the way. For whatever that's worth to you, no, I do. I do. But in this instance, like there are a lot of measurements that suggest that Dillon Gabriel in week 3 was not just an absolute disaster. And that's all we're pointing out here.
There are also a lot that suggested he was an absolute disaster.
Well, again, 47 that's not what Tua was. Tua was 27 in PFF over the ranking.
He was 26 out of 36 quarterbacks. Actually, no, he was on passing grade, he was 27 out of 36 week 7.
Right. Again, Tua was 27 total overall.
That's not the bar.
Absolute last. No. When we were talking about absolutely vomiting all over your shoes, that was the point we kept bringing up, was the idea that Tua, he was showing you in a game how you absolutely lose a game, you throw 3 interceptions, you got no control of anything. All I asked for Dillon Gabriel to do was just look competent. And in a 25-point win, he looked competent. That's all he needed to do.
Is 27 out of 36 quarterbacks competent?
Completion percentage competent.
Is 27 out of 36.
Is 11th in EPA competent?
Is 2 touchdowns taken off the board because of your decisions when you're looking right at Quinshon Judkins? Is that competent?
Yes, there was competence there. Yes. You're putting it towards a different measurement than I am. I think that's where the hang-up is. You're putting it as if this is like some all-time great Dillon Gabriel game. It's not. It's not. It was not even.
I don't think
it was not even by any measure. You won by 25. The job for Dillon Gabriel is to win the game, and to do what he needed to do to win the game.
No.
He threw the ball 7 times in the first 3 quarters.
Wins and losses.
He threw the ball 7 times in the first 3 quarters.
But what quarterbacks do we go? Well, you got to win, so it doesn't matter how you play.
With the backup quarterback, that's what you do. With Mac Jones, win the game.
He's the starter.
With Mac Jones, we don't care how it looks. No. He's a backup quarterback in my eyes. It's all I'm judging him off of.
No. You have to judge him as he says they are.
He's their starter. He's the second quarterback off in the season. He is the backup quarterback.
He's their quarterback they drafted, and they felt comfortable starting him in week 5. We cannot lower the bar. I think it's fair.
Listen,
if we do this, by the way,
Dillon Gabriel
if we do this with Shador, I am lockstep with you, right? 5th round pick. You're going to go to him week 12 when maybe the team has given up. Totally makes sense. When this dude's starting in the meat of the season with the expectation to be competitive, he was not competitive yesterday. Quinshawn, competitive. The defense, competitive. They had some guys that made some plays yesterday. Hell, I thought the offensive line looked like they might actually...
he missed 5 passes and didn't turn the ball over. That's all you're asked to do in that role.
5 passes out of 18.
That's all you're asked to do in that role. You're asked to do. That's all you're asked to do in that. This is the difference here.
You're asked to put points on the board when points are on the field.
You're asking Dillon Gabriel to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I'm not. That's the difference.
By not missing a wide open Quinshawn Judkins? I'm asking any quarterback to do that.
I'm asking Johnny Manziel
where you threw the ball 18
times and that was it. You're going to have misses. You won the game by 25. I'm judging him how I judge Mac Jones. You're a backup quarterback.
Mac Jones was a first-round pick and a better quarterback than Dillon's ever been.
Did you win the game? That's all I care about is the backup quarterback. He's not your starter long-term.
He's not going to be.
Is. No, they
That's
don't.
why they started him in week 5.
He's not a starter long-term. He's never going to be a long-time NFL starter.
You're dogging him and supporting him in ways I'm confused by.
I'm not. I'm dogging him way more than supporting him. That's the problem with this. I feel like I'm going to bat for Dillon Gabriel, and I don't want any part of that.
It seems like you want part of it.
Why did I yell for Dillon Gabriel? I don't. I'm yelling for the idea that as a backup quarterback that nobody believed in,
he is a starting quarterback
where you complete 73% of your passes, don't turn the ball over, and that's more than acceptable. That's not a lousy game. By no measurement is that a lousy game. He's a backup, and you know it. This is a faulty argument by you.
Passing
you are
grades
trying
by
to make
PFF.
him a top 10
27 out of 30. No, I'm trying to make him a competent quarterback.
That's how he needs to be.
It's week 3. He's
a backup.
Literally the worst grade he got from PFF. Your gods.
It's not the worst grade.
Your gods gave him the worst passing grade of his 3 spots. Yes, he did.
Out of his games.
63
yes, out of his 3 games.
Against Minnesota, 51.1 against Pittsburgh, where he was cheeks, and then this week against Miami, 47.6.
EPA. He was 11th in EPA.
I bow to you.
I don't know what you're even arguing at this point.
I don't know what you're arguing, which is probably...
Ken's right. Arguing over Dillon Gabriel is the dumbest thing we could ever do in this.
No. He's
right. Arguing over Dillon Gabriel might be the dumbest thing we ever do.
No, it's your job, Ken. Oh, that sounded personal. I did not like that.
That came off really hard.
Ken, I will retract that immediately. Ooh. Actually, I'm going to reverse my retraction. That's your job, Ken. 216-474-0092. How much time?
You keep saying 27 out of 36. Like that was the worst thing in the world, by the way. If 27 out of 36 is what he gives you on a week-in-week-out basis, that's all you can expect out of Dillon Gabriel. That's all you can expect.
We have normalized garbage.
That's with bad games.
We have normalized garbage in a way that is unhealthy.
I think that's where the difference is.
We need Dr. Phil to come in here and spew some of that fancy stuff.
Expecting backup to the backup quarterback essentially play out of Dillon. The fact that he gave you even 27 out of 36 and you won the game by 25, that was what your job was.
I understand that there's a healthy segment of people that agree with you of, no, he's not the starter, he is the backup, and that's how we should grade him. I just continue to go with he's starting. The backup to me is QB1 got injured. Well, Joe Flacco got benched. The backup to me is a guy that has been in the NFL for X amount of time. The backup to me, you don't go to the backup quarterback to be your starter in week 5. And the Browns have put Dillon in this situation for better or worse, and so we should all be grading. And it's not just Dillon. It's Shador too. When we say take a look at one of these quarterbacks, you have to be grading with the eyes of, do I think you are a starting quarterback? And I think there's this narrative or there's this idea that you have to have the perfect set of circumstances. You're not saying this, but there's this perfect set of circumstances that will allow it. Well, you got to have a great O-line and the great pass catchers and a great tight end and a great No, it's the NFL. You grade in the environment that they play in.
Yeah, and the environment he plays in is not very good. But again, I'm not trying to make this a defense of Dillon Gabriel. I think the idea that, and by the way, your numbers on PFF, little wrong. I need to correct you before we make this the whole thing all day. He was 24th out of 32.
Did you do passing grade or did you do the overall grade?
No, I did passing because passing is what actually matters within this.
Did you do qualifying quarterbacks?
Yeah, I did min 20% of 61. Yeah, so he's 20.
So for what? For week 7?
For week 7. Yeah.
Okay, because I just did all quarterbacks and he was 27th out of 36.
We've just debated. I thought we were debating week 7, not necessarily the previous 3 weeks.
I did. Yeah, there were 36 quarterbacks that played on Sunday. And
no, I did min
qualifying.
20% of dropbacks.
Yeah, I didn't do
so
any
I chopped it off. So we had 32 quarterbacks that qualified. The 20% is in there because they grade people that do like 3 passes in a game, and then they actually get the percentages. And sometimes that puts people 10th, sometimes that puts people 28th. I do min 20% because it actually shows a reasonable number of percentages. Other thing on this though, turnover worthy plays. PFF says he made 1. Like if you have if you are 24th out of 32, you have 1 turnover worthy play, the TWP, that's what they judge, 1 turnover worthy play, and you complete 73% of your passes. As somebody that I think is a backup quarterback, I can't look at you in a rainstorm and say that was some sort of catastrophe, some sort of a mishandling of the position. And I think that's my main point. But I think we just judge him a little bit differently, mainly because I've never seen him as a starter. So maybe I just need to readjust maybe what I'm looking at from that perspective. I've always looked at him like you're not better than Shedeur. You shouldn't have this opportunity over Shedeur. But if you're going to play, I can't look at that game and say, I'm judging you the same way I would judge Patrick Mahomes, let's say. And maybe I just need to adjust that. I'm not sure.
I think we should do league average. I think it should be against Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins. Like, I don't need Dillon Gabriel to be a top 10 quarterback. If he's the 16th best quarterback on average, I will settle for that for some short duration of time. But if he's starting, then that's how we're grading him. They drafted him in the 3rd round. If you draft somebody in the 3rd round, you think they can be a starter, even if they haven't said that specifically of we think he can be a starter. So
I know, I've looked at these numbers for so many years, and what is very typical of quarterbacks early on, especially throughout their rookie seasons, most of the quarterbacks, they live in that 20 to 32 range anyway.
And where are they drafted?
As
usually
rookies.
In the 1st round, yes?
Yeah,
okay,
they're taken very high.
This is a scratch-off lottery ticket. Do you see anything special? No. Throw this one away, put a new one in.
Well, we agree on that. I would have thrown him away before he even had an opportunity to start. I wouldn't have drafted him. We've talked about that a million times.
So here's why I think at the heart, why we both get fired up about this, why I get fired up about this, is there are no passes in this league. They're not for late third round quarterbacks that I didn't buy into the first place. So at some point in the next 3 weeks, I need to see something that looks like a starting quarterback. And if the thing you do is things that I think I'm resigned to the idea I was never going to see that anyway.
And so, like, in my perception of everything, the fact that he didn't go out there and throw 3 interceptions like Tua did, that's the win. What my expectations for someone in that spot when you win by 25 is to just not vomit all over your shoes. Just look competent, and that's really what it was. That was him. Yes, he missed some throws. Yes, there were some throws he could have made, but did he look enough like a quarterback that could hand the ball off to Judkins and not make a bunch of mistakes?
And here's the problem.
And I thought he accomplished that.
That's not repeatable. The way that game went on Sunday, it's not going to go that way again for Cleveland. You might have a strong defensive performance. You might generate some turnovers. But in terms of you jump on the score early and then the other teams make so many mistakes that you just don't have to do anything, like that's maybe one place you and I can agree on. That game's not going to present itself to where he only has to throw 18 times, and it won't matter that he missed 2 potentially obvious touchdowns. And if it does, I'm not he's just getting a lot of free passes, not from you, but I think in general, the analysis is, well, you won, so what does it matter? No, it matters. We're in evaluation mode with him. And I'm 3 games away from saying sayonara to him, and I don't think they are. And I think that's where my frustration comes in.
Well, because I think they look at it in many ways, and this is where they have to be honest with themselves. If you have a backup quarterback, the goal is just, can you win 50% of your games? If he's winning 50% of his games, I think they'll look at it like, you just keep staying and you keep playing. And I hate that, because I don't want that. I want to see Shedeur. I want a chance to have him play over this. But I maintain Sunday was not in a 25-point win. That I can't ask Dillon Gabriel to be perfect. He's never going to be that. And so I thought he checked off the box that I needed him to check.
If from my side, if you're a physically limited quarterback, you have to be perfect. That's how Brock Purdy kept his job and got $50 million a year.